Hey all, it's Chris at the Retro Video Gamer. Bit of a strange out the blue moment this one because I'm just dropping a new video up away from the usual sort of screen captures or screen grabs that I usually put in to the website. I thought we'd try a few different things nowadays. Particularly what I want to do from now on is try to get a few more videos regularly coming up rather than just concentrating on the vlog blog website. And if you read some of the articles I usually do in a few of the fandom magazines as well, you might be picking up on a few tidbits and interesting bits that I put into those. But I thought we'd go into a little bit of a conversation topic regarding Nintendo's out of the blue announcement, I suppose, from a couple of days ago. This one in particular was the Nintendo announces the Nintendo Switch OLED model. It's not the one we thought was going to come out. I myself personally thought we were going to be going somewhat close to a Tegra 2, possibly. Yeah, I don't want to use the phrase, but effectively the Switch Pro. Now, what they seem to have announced, we almost hit the nail on the head through articles previously. There was going to be OLED. We knew those were already in the pipeline. We knew they were going through the manufacturing, which was fantastic because we thought, yeah, great, we're going to get a larger screen in this. We're possibly going to get a 4K resolution, possibly for a dock, maybe something along the lines of a very sharp 1080p. Bit crisper just to go through. But yeah, if you've experienced a PlayStation Vita models, particularly the original OLEDs, you know exactly how great these screens are. So obviously Nintendo did their announcement. It's very short and sweet. It was only about 2-3 minutes on here. Basically covered a few little basics on here, which was there's a new screen. The Switch is exactly the same size as the previous ones. We have got this slightly newer battery that was in the previous revision of the Switch. So if you've got the original model, it's the newer battery capacity that was in the later edition of the Switch docked version. Now there is also an enhanced audio capability on this as well, which I think seems to have got lost in a lot of translations during a few YouTubers and influencers dropping comments around. So there is a plus there. I presume what they must have done, I'm going to go through this with our own article on here, is they obviously, during the manufacturing process, they've reduced the amount of capacity with the onboard circuitry and the system on a chip to effectively get more into the space that they had in the pre-existing model, which obviously enabled them to go for a larger screen. If you look at the original Switch docked, you'll notice you've got a decent black bezel pretty much around the outside of the main screen, which is just over a centimetre across all the way around, although you generally don't tend to focus on it. So what you're going to look at with the new OLED versions it's going to be pretty much right up to the barriers on this one. So yeah, you are going to get a sharper, crisper image. It's going to be a lot brighter. There's going to be a lot more push on the coloured aspects on here. So there's going to be a lot of Nintendo titles that are really going to benefit from this. From my point of view, the Mario games in particular are really going to benefit out of here. Yoshi's Woolly, Yoshi's Switch game is going to be fantastic, as along with Donkey Kong. But I was going to say, also Pikmin will be actually quite interesting to look at as well. I digress anyway. But moving through the bits and pieces, Nintendo did, while they put up a quick 3-minute YouTube video, which was absolutely wonderful, that went through the usual promotional spiel of how great it does, makes that desirability that you really want to try and purchase this alongside the new look dock, which looks like it's got rid of a few of those little glaring annoyances that we had before. Looks like there's a little bit more care taken into, particularly how it actually goes into the dock, so we aren't going to get too much on scratch surfaces. There's a little bit of curvature been added in. If you look at particularly at the back, it wasn't quite indicated straight away into the marketing spiel, but we've lost a USB port on the internal side of things, which has now been replaced with the high-speed internet cable, which is basically a networking cable. Now, I think that's personally a fantastic thing. Broadband speeds as they are ever increasing, particularly in the UK. I mean, we're up to the 1 gig fibres at the moment. So, from my perspective, having a wired connection potentially for Nintendo Switch straight to your router or your modem system is going to be beneficial to get those all important downloadable content, and also for the downloadable games as well. Let's face it, game sizes aren't getting any smaller. We're going to need something of a more smoother transition. And to be fair, Wi-Fi can do great up to sort of usually up to about 50 megasecond. I think it's pretty much its absolute maximum on the push. But if you get any faster internet speeds beyond that, you really are going to struggle to get the benefit to actually going through the pipeline straight to your console. From my perspective, that it is a worthwhile inclusion, but again, I do tend to have a little bit of concern over there. Not so much in terms of hardware usage, in terms of like peripherals, a little bit of pieces there. I know for myself, if you put in the GameCube adapter on there straight away, because that uses 2 USB ports. Those are convenient ones on the side anyway. Plug those in, obviously you put 4 GameCube controllers, which are absolutely brilliant for Mario Kart and Smash Brothers. But you're losing that extra one that could be used as a charging port, charging cable, that could be going for any of your handheld Switch. I was going to say if you get extra Joy-Cons, so you're not charging them up on the unit or docked. But anyway, going through them out. The thing we have seen, Nintendo weren't exactly specific on a lot of things, price, any other bits on the internal details. Now, I have held back this commentary and video, and particularly I have held it back on the website as well in terms of the announcement, purely because I wanted to try and get hold of Nintendo's PR side of things, just to see if we could get a little bit more information before we decide to push this one up. And Izzy obviously did this in the background. She's had a bit of a chase on there. So we've we actually found out the Nintendo Switch OLED model is going to actually retail at £309.99. There are a few upgrades over the base model. Obviously OLED screen, it's 7 inches wide versus 6.2 inches, so yeah, it's going to go up to the bezel on there of the original Switch and Lite models. Yep, we've got the new dock. Ironically enough, the Joy-Cons are still the same. It's basically literally just a new colour. No additional functionality, no additional functions or any other kind of enhancements have been added to this at all. So you are basically going to say, if you've got original ones, if the original you've got original Joy-Cons that are on sale at the moment, any particular colours, they're completely compatible. You can basically remake this exactly how you like it. You're not going to lose out on anything, from the new system. Which I do think is a little bit of an annoyance. Partly because of obviously Joy-Con drift issues that we've had in recent years, which has already gone through for sort of US and Australia as well, particularly for the Japan side of things, where they are doing the replacement. If you have a problem with them, send them to Nintendo. They will do a replacement system, send you a replacement back if they can't repair it. UK had a bit of an issue with that, where I think they weren't originally going to honour those sort of replacements if you suffered from Joy-Con drift. But I've heard a lot of rumours going around, a few people coming across saying they are accepting them now. So just want to bear with on that one, just in the background. But yeah, going through the other motions on it, we've got an enhanced audio, we've got the LAN port. Now, there was also a few extra caveats there that we weren't told about. Particularly, we've now got an increased storage of 64 gigabytes, up from the original 32. Absolutely fantastic. We're all overly using that space now. And if anybody hasn't got an SD card put into their system now, why not? I mean, I went overkill on mine. I put a 400 in there. That was pretty much at the start. Yeah, it cost a couple £100 at the time to put in. It was a bit of a ludicrous idea, but I did it with same with PlayStation 3. I did it with same with PlayStation 4 before, and even sort of the Xbox as well. I added external hard drives onto it, and I always looked at it from the point of view of the large capacity hard drive you've got on there on the storage facility. If you are picking up digital games or you are installing digital things, it's something you can just forget about for a few years, not have to worry about, and then when you come to have to revisit again, possibly you might be looking at maybe one upgrade on there, but you can always reuse the original one for something else. So yeah, there's always an option that should I ever need to replace the 400 out there, my Raspberry Pi is probably perfectly happy and waiting to adopt it on the next point. But yeah, going through 64 gig on there, obviously with Xenoblade Chronicles and quite a few of the other particularly heavier duty titles on there, will eat that up fairly well. So you're going to get a decent 5 or 6 games in the system straight away without too much sweat. obviously with updates as well. I know the recent version 12 of the software has done a Joy-Con enhancement, and there's a software update for that. We don't quite know exactly what that is. I'm hoping they're doing something involving dynamic drift, particularly to solve that issue we've got with the controller, to hopefully negate some of the problems that Nintendo have. Can't confirm that at all. But I know with the other side of things, with obviously performance and security enhancements, etc., I know they have done a little bit of an update with patch updates now. So rather than having the patch being downloaded onto your system first, and then basically updating the software and then removing the unnecessary data, it's very much a case so it's doing a direct replacement of the original patch, take off, new one on, and then away you go. A little bit more better, I think, in that respect. It's definitely being a bit more self-conscious for the consumers in terms of maximising the amount of space they've got available every time. So if you ever have a full system, you're not worried too much about, how am I going to be sacrificing a particular game just to run the enhancements and upgrade, just so I can get the latest patch edition for any other piece of software. What other items were originally on there? Let's quickly go through. No, I think we were pretty much about where we were here. I know we had some extra conversations. I don't think we actually dropped them on here yet, but we will do an update a little bit later, just for later confirmation. Now, in regards to the Switch, the chip hasn't changed. We've also had a particular update regarding the memory capacity. That is still as the original Switch. There's been no additional enhancements, particularly around any part of the board. So what you're basically looking at is the original Nintendo Switch system is basically going to be exactly the same as the Nintendo OLED system. The only difference you're really going to have is a slightly better battery than the very original release copy, and the screen on there, which is a little bit of a shame, obviously, and the storage. Now, should they have done anything better on this? I do believe they really should have, to be honest. I mean, they had a prime opportunity. We're 4.5 years into the life cycle now, where they could have taken the additional chip enhancements. And let's be sure, Nintendo don't exactly lose money on the Switch from the get-go on here. And majority of Nintendo's first-party titles pretty much retain the full retail value as they go through their life cycle as well. They could have really updated the main CPU and the system on a chip. We could have probably had a memory enhancement. There were a lot of dev kits going around, particularly the last 2 years, where have been increases up to 8 gigabytes on there. And I was really kind of hoping we were going to see some of that come through. Potentially, hopefully, having a quick look at the circuitry, see if there were any other performance enhancements they could have made. I hate to always keep going back to sort of Xenoblade on here, but if you played that particular game on the Switch, you will know there are some points where, particularly with the animation and particularly with the amount of work that's currently going on screen, there are some times when it does drop below 30 FPS. It's not often, but it is something that Nintendo's quality control, I thought, would have picked up at the interim and originally said, can we do anything with on patching? Can we do anything with a dynamic resolution? Can we just try and negate that a little bit further? So it's a little bit sad that they haven't, particularly this update halfway through the life cycle, hasn't had that opportunity to really sort of do what they did with the new Nintendo 3DS and add that additional performance enhancement onto the main board and to give a little bit more dynamic flow effectively onto the system. Give it a bit of revitalisation, particularly as we had a refresh, particularly with their competitors. No, obviously Nintendo are never going to say we have competitors in our market. They are strictly on the handheld side. They're very happy to stay there. And yeah, they do treat their docked version and their docked console system as effectively an encompassing part of the whole infrastructure that they currently have. They're not really chasing any particular type of fan. They know their IPs are very popular. They know people are waiting for the numerous amount of them to go through the cycle before they re-release a brand new system and then effectively regurgitate the next iteration of those IPs as we carry on. So they're not in any rush in that respect. I mean, we're still waiting for, I think for myself, I'm still waiting for probably a move over for like Star Fox Zero, expecting probably a deluxe edition over to the Switch. I'm still waiting for things like Project Zero, Dark Maiden over there. I believe that was coming out later this year, and I've heard enough rumours that that one's on the cards now. But it's all little things that I swear they've almost missed a trick. I mean, we're on the 35th anniversary of Zelda, so I was expecting something very similar to the Mario 3D All Stars package, perhaps for the Zelda side of things. But on the same coin, we're also looking at Metroid's 35th anniversary. Now, yes, it's great. We've got Metroid Dread coming out a bit later on the systems. Metroid 4 is obviously in development at the moment. But I was really expecting was to have another push, perhaps with the Metroid Prime trilogy from the Wii, updated, enhanced, pushed over to the Nintendo Switch. Would have been an option. I would like to have seen that, possibly have that little bit of a conversion over there, just as an extra filler in our schedule, and also to acknowledge the fact we've got our 35th anniversary come, so it would be nice to honour a nice long series there with a little bit of tender care. But yeah, it's I think we've had a very missed opportunity with Nintendo here. It feels very much the case of they've bought a load of LED screens in. I know they've been doing some test work with the CPU side of things, and I don't feel they've really, whether it's because of pandemic or whether it's because of other issues in the pipeline, I don't think they've taken the opportunity to really push themselves and really drive a system into the hands of consumers that would make people want to double dip. Don't get me wrong, the current Switch system as it's been promoted here is a great offering for any new families not bought into it yet, who are looking to make the plunge this Christmas. I think it's an absolutely fantastic little design, and I think it's probably going to be the system that future retro collectors are probably going to look at and say, yeah, this is the definitive one that you want to get your hands on. Much like we had the backlit Game Boy Advance and the original Game Boy Light. I think these are going to be the ones that really push the performance and make people want to go into that collecting route. Whether it's the right unit that should have been released is a bone of contention that I'm probably going to sit back on and grumble repeatedly in future episodes and future videos. But we'll see on those. But like I said, the one thing I would actually like to see at some point, I'm still hoping and I hope for it, is an updated and enhanced Switch Pro system. We have a Tegra 2 line, we have an updated pipework for memory capacity. There's nothing really stopping Nintendo chasing that except for the on-layer cost and getting that infrastructure out into consumers' hands. Now, obviously, naturally, there is a chip shortage going around at the moment, but it's something that I still would really like them to attack. Hopefully, we will get to that point and we will get to see it. But yeah, for now, as it stands, it's not a bad system. It'll do for what we need. There has been reported this one's going to get released in October this year. I think it's around October the 6th. Don't quote me quite on that date, but it's definitely the first 2 weeks in October on there. We have the price already set up. It should be all good very retailers. And I have been with our advice. We are going to start seeing pre-orders literally in the next week or two on this one, just to jump out if they're not already pushing the boat out on Amazon and the like. Just take a quick look out there, and good luck hunting if you want one, and hopefully we'll get one on board and we'll be able to do a bit of a performance review on site. Naturally, for everything else on here, please like, comment and subscribe. Obviously, love the subscribers. Don't forget, it's a free thing you can do. It doesn't cost a penny to subscribe up. You can always unsubscribe later if you feel any of these videos are just not quite your fancy. But obviously, everything you do for us helps us a ton. It really does help promote the channel, really does help promote the information and the news that we push out on a daily basis to everybody else. We deal with retro primarily, We also do a lot of current stuff in there because everything's going to go retro at some point, and we will occasionally drop in commentary on other alternate things, relevant pop culture, things that are going to come across. But for everything else, you can always find all the information from us either on our YouTube channel or via thatretrovideogamer